All right, so this is going to be for 720 to 726. We can start on the debt log here, so we can see the overview, and then we'll talk
Jesus
through the
Christ.
details. Yeah, right. So you can see it's easy to visualize here. Down, 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 down,
Right.
down, and then July.
It's moving.
Yeah, going up.
Yep.
So today I actually had to. I transferred over another 2,000 of my own money because I had to, which I don't love, but we got to do what we got to do, right? So yeah, and then the credit card's getting high too. Only has a little bit of credit. We do get the first of month payments in, but then also remember we have the return to work bonuses we have to pay to the guys. I was also made aware through chatting with the Rege that we have a. There was a big job they did that apparently they went really okay. 35 hours. 35.96 hours. Okay, so it's budgeted for 40. Okay, so it sounds like there's a big job we didn't bill for. It was a 36-hour job. The guy's name was Halab.
Yeah, Charles Halab. Why haven't we billed for it?
Because it was completed on the 28th. So she didn't bill for it. So
okay. Yeah, that would have helped, right?
Yeah, so 35 hours times 35 times what is it? They've been getting like,
I think I charged him.
More. Yeah, so it's like $3,000 or something like that.
Probably $4,000.
$4,000. Okay, so yeah, I mean that would help.
Yeah.
So moving forward,
he should have been billed this week, man. He was done on the 28th. So, wait, yeah. I don't think he was done the 28th. We went back there last Saturday.
She said they completed on the 28th. They did it the 25th to the 26th, and they completed on the 28th. That's what she texted to me.
Let me see. Hold on one sec.
28th would have been this Monday.
They went back. That is right. They went back on Monday.
That's what Reese said. Yeah.
We still could have billed him on Tuesday.
That's true. It's not going to make that. I mean, if we get the money next week, it's not that big of a difference. I wouldn't have had to throw in $2,000, but it would have changed the picture a little bit, right?
I think for a big project like that, if it's a multi-day project and we finish on Monday and we started the previous week, we should probably bill the following day for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. Okay. I'll tell Arish that. I'm just getting out my notes. Billing.
It's like a no-brainer.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, why wait on it, right? So we got the first of the month payments in. It's always helpful. We also get all our bills that come in. That Isuzu truck, the new one, it comes on the 1st. We try to get the payment comes on the 1st. I try to get all those to like the 5th. That way, cash flow wise, the money's in the account to cover it. But they want to charge us like something like $300 to change the due date, which I was like refused to do that just out of principle. But that one still draws on the 1st, which isn't great timing because we get paid on the 2nd, right? Other things that happen. So I mean, we've been getting slammed this month. On top of we've been short on margins.
Can we change that due date? A lot of times, people give flexibility. Maybe can we move that to like the 4th or the 5th?
Yeah, I tried to do that, and they wanted to charge us $300 to do that. So I've refused to do that at principle. Because I don't want to pay $300.
Did you yell at them and be like, "No, I'm not doing that"?
Yeah, I was just like, "Oh, I just responded to the email." I was like, "That's ridiculous. I'm not going to do it." And then that was, I think, that was the end of the conversation. I'm not going to pay to change the due date by 3 days.
Do you think the $300 would save a lot of aggravation and transferring money over if we just did it?
We can see how it goes. It's like, it's like what, $1,600. It's not, it wouldn't drastically change the situation. I guess everything adds up, but I mean, down the road, if we have to, we can change it. Just at the time, I was like, no, I'm not going to pay to change the freaking due date.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll get the payments in. We're probably going to remain tight next week because we get the payments in, but then on top, we usually have a couple extra bucks in there, but then now we're paying return to work bonuses too, which is like at least $2,000 or $3,000. And then we'll be done with those. But recently we got slammed with the workers' comp audit. We got all this stuff. That's the rising debt here. The workers' comp audit, the graphics on trucks. There's other stuff off the top of my head I'm not remembering. The other thing is, I thought we asked Diversify to be billing us on a weekly basis, but we got these bills, and didn't we tell Arish to ask him to bill us weekly? And I don't know if he has the capacity there. I just don't think it's going to happen because I just don't think he wants to do the paperwork.
Everybody has a capacity to make that simple accommodation. The guy's a friggin' stubborn old mule. I'm sure she reached out to him, but maybe we should reach out again.
Yeah, that's what she's doing. So I don't like it because it screws up her cash flow. B, it screws up our numbers because now this wasn't 7 grand of expenses last week, So we've been
Hmm.
seeing really high charge rates, and then all of a sudden we get slammed and it nails them down. We get slammed this
Hmm.
week, so it's not really accurate week to week when we're getting slammed with that. Everything else is coming out week to week, you know, except for obviously the FERT, and we buy that in bulk. But anyway, it throws off our numbers, and it's also like unexpected. Cash flow crunches. I also said to Arish because Arish does a lot of the payments, but I'm also doing it. We're not communicating well on that, so like I didn't know that was coming out. So like she pays diversified, but like I didn't know that was coming out, so I didn't plan on it. When I'm managing the cash flow because it's my job. So we got to work on that communication because there either should be one person doing it and go. That's what I suggest to her. Like one person handles the cash flow and the other person goes through them. Like, hey, we need to pay this diversified bill, rather than we're just both sending out money randomly without
Yeah.
communicating that. So that's a problem too.
Yeah.
So we'll address
Well, I'm
that.
glad we identified that.
Yep. So we got revenue's a little short. Hours have been short. The difference this week is our gross margin is like very short. So if we get rid of these, right? Say we didn't have these big chunks this week, we're still short by 5 grand.
Hmm.
And I've been digging a lot into this, so I'll keep going. Which also, given our trajectory, we're the variance is higher on the debt here. So we lost 1% of traction here too.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so we're at 9. We weren't making any progress past couple weeks, right? We weren't catching up. We want the number to go be less of a deficit, and it went up. So this is all. I
Hmm.
mean, it's all following the same trajectory, right? Um, so good news, right? So let me keep going with bad news, and I'll go to good news. So Red, and actually this isn't as bad as I thought because we got another few grand of revenue. But Red has been the one that's carrying here. We're usually seeing like 10 to 12 grand of revenue by them, right? We only got 6, but
Yep.
really, from the sounds of it, we got another 4 coming through, right? So we got like
Hmm.
10. So it's more on track. If we get rid of these expenses, because presumably they don't all happen in that specific week, they're still only at 45. But if we put this up to say 10, 3, 6, 4. They're at 76, and I think so. Like if we're trying to, I just want to revert that back because this is the way the cash flow numbers fell. But in reality, maybe they'd be around 76 if we got paid for that. We can get hit with all those charges in 1 week.
Hmm.
And Red Crew, are we here? Red Crew. That would have felt about in line with what they've been getting, right? So really, all these numbers were a little bit less here because we paid for all the diversified this week. We didn't get paid for the job, so we should expect to see a higher charge rate next week because we're gonna get that quote unquote bonus of 4 grand paid out right
Hmm.
next week. So we should see a higher number than average next week. Hopefully, this is the beginning and the end of our cash flow crunch, right? So because of that, the way the numbers fell, the reason why we're seeing bank account balances we are is because we dropped this benchmark, but we also fell way down in our charge rate to 58 due to everything we just talked about. So switching over to the good news, Randy started mowing by himself, right? He
Hmm.
got $78 an hour. It's probably the highest he's gotten all year. Let's see.
Well, that makes sense.
Exactly as no surprise there, right? But it's really nice to see. So it's good to know that, like, I mean, damn, he went up $10 an hour, right? $10
Hmm.
times um, times 52 hours. So it's an extra $500 a week of revenue, right?
Yep.
Um,
That's great.
yeah, right. That's just nothing else, right? And one less
Hmm.
guy to manage, right? We
Exactly.
just made another $500. So that's
Hmm.
fantastic. Also, really good to see that to remind us. So, but what the fuck happened with Blue here? Are they working by themselves? They've never been anywhere near 86.
No, Oswaldo and Josh last week.
How do they crush it so much? I'd really like to know that because Blue, like no one's, they're absolutely crushing it. How?
Cutting corners, rushing through shit. Anthony
All right,
checked on them. I think they were missing some shit,
all right. So it's
but they're
going to
not
come
getting
back.
complaints.
How they got like complaints too?
No, they're not getting complaints.
Oh, well, if they're not getting complaints and they're getting the charge rate, then whatever they're doing is working. Because
Yeah, keep going.
so like what, like this is possible, right? With 2
Of
guys.
course it is. We know that.
Unless, I mean, the complaints may be delayed. We might be paying for this later. We might be just cashing in
Mhm.
now. But obviously, this is something to model off of because how are these guys getting this? And then look at if you compare it to the opposite end of the spectrum, where those guys getting like Maroon was getting like like 60,
They're still the
50.
weakest link.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, so they crushed their budget hours, which they should be. Honestly, this is what we should be seeing. The grass is like
Mhm.
not even growing up. I haven't cut my lawn in like 3 weeks. Like they're just riding over it with a lawnmower, essentially.
Yeah,
Um,
look at Maroon Crew. They beat it by one lousy hour, dude.
exactly, exactly. So this is yeah, and they
Actually, so
should be.
slow, man.
This is what we should be seeing this time of year. I'm telling you, and we shouldn't be making excuses. This is what we should be seeing.
Mhm.
The budget hours are fluffed because it doesn't take anywhere near how long it takes the rest of the year.
It's an
Um,
average of May
right.
and October when it takes forever to mow. So
Yes,
they've
I
got
don't think
that,
that
that
these guys
leadership.
should be getting we were throwing in bonuses when they're going over previously. I don't think they should be earning a bonus when they're just beating it by 1 hour, you know.
He
Um,
beat expectations, didn't he?
if these are expectations, but if we're not going to address it for this year, but in reality, that bar should be they should be beating it significantly, not by 1 hour. Because if they beat it by 1 hour, they really are doing it too slow. You know what I'm saying? So however you
I
want to handle it.
understand. We need to highlight that, and now we have to create like a buffer, right? Now we have to come in within 3 hours to get bonus, so we can address that. But for now, Necky didn't get any complaints, and he beat his
Yep.
budget hours for the first time all year.
You're
So
trying to
let's give him a
encourage them,
bonus.
right? You're trying to encourage them. So, and that bonus is at the end of the day is your discretion. The
Yep.
point I'm making here, though, is that these guys, this is including the average of when grass is growing really fast. So when grass is growing really
Mhm.
slow, they should be able to crush it. I think these guys are crushing it. I don't know if they're going to get complaints if they're going too fast, but I definitely think that this is possible. You know.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, Mo crews are all performing better, right?
Mhm.
So that's the plus side.
That's great.
So something that was very curious that I wanted to show to you. So I started looking through, right? We're talking about our July hours and where did we get that from that wasn't realistic, right? Like how did we ever hit 2,000 hours? Right now we're in July. This is July hours. So far, we're at 1,500 hours, and this week is going to fall on next week because there's 4 days left in. Sorry, 5 days of this period is in. We're going to wait one more week before we tally that on. So if we continue this
Mhm.
trajectory, say another 400 hours, that's being wishful. We'll be at
Mhm.
like about 2,000 hours, right? And 2266. Okay, we're actually not that short. That we get an extra bonus week in July because it's a long month. But if I
Mhm.
look back at 2024, this 2024 sheet, July we hit 2,000. Oh, it's about the same, huh? 2,067 hours. This is actual. This is how many hours we worked. Our charge rate was 67. And this year we did price increases across the board, and we're at 73. That makes sense, right? So we're about $5 an hour higher on the charge rate.
Mhm.
That makes sense. This is showing a lot of consistency from year to year in terms of the hours and the charge rate because we would expect to
Right.
raise prices. It's pretty consistent there. Um, so I started looking at this, right? Let me pull up my notes here. So I started looking at our estimates, like where's do we have less work, right? But really it's looking very consistent with work. I looked at the estimates sent, one lost, July and June, 25 versus 24. I
Mhm.
threw it in chat just keep me, so I didn't have to crunch the numbers. So June 2025, this year, and there's still some outstanding, right? Because it's June. There's some sent ones, but there's not in 2024. Oh, sorry, no, July. I'm talking about June is all closed out, but July, it was ended yesterday. We still have some that are marked sent that might still be accepted or lost or whatever, right? But June last year, because I was like, well, why do we have less work this year? Which actually, it's looking like we don't have less work. It looks like we have
No,
about the
I don't
same.
suspect we have less work.
Seems like about the same, right?
Yep.
Um, so last this June you booked 92 grand of work. We're $92,000.
Mhm.
And June last year you booked 60,000. So that was like a big uptick. So you'd think we'd have more
Yeah.
work, right? Well,
Mhm.
that's for June that maybe we produced in June and July, a little bit of July, right? That's why I ran June too. Um,
Mhm.
July we booked 50, but there's still some that could be accepted, but that's going to fall into August anyway, right? If those sent ones that aren't won or lost that are outstanding, those will be accepted
Mhm.
in so 50 and 54, so about the same. So it's reading, it seemed pretty consistent. You'd think we get a little boost unless we produced it all in June. But it's looking like year to year, we're actually like, compared to last year, we booked about the same amount of work and produced about the same amount of hours, right?
Mhm.
That's what it looks like to me. Um, at a slightly higher charge rate.
So we
Um,
had really high hopes for July, apparently, and we shouldn't.
Well, no, July we upped the bar. We tried to work a little bit more, right? Because our goal here was 2266, and we actually did 2067. So it's only 200 more hours. We're still stuck
That's
more
not too
guys.
bad. Sure.
So
Yeah, it's handable.
that wasn't really a crazy goal. I think that. So you know what it was. So when we're looking at this average here that we need to hit per week, we're sorry. This is yeah, this is divided by I have an extra week in here. You know what I'm saying? So our bar is
Mhm.
actually lower than it shows here. So 4.3 weeks because we actually got like 5 weeks this month. You know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna do
Yeah.
5 weekly audits. So we're gonna get in more hours because we have an extra week. So that's probably why July didn't seem realistic when really it's pretty realistic. We're just a little shy.
Okay. That makes
So that's good to
sense.
see. As I reviewed this live with you, I started to realize that as I went through it a second time, that we are actually pretty on track for the hours, and we're higher on the charge rate. Um,
Mhm.
so I'm still. We didn't do a lot of these analyses we're doing this year, like the stat one. We weren't really tracking last year. Um, we have so many less expenses I'm reviewing, and I got to get Sean on this. Everything's delayed. You know, the call we're having, we're now pushed to 11:30. We're having that. Um, we're reviewing June's numbers, and we have June's final numbers. So it's like we get the information over a month late. It's really hard to, and I know this is something I'm saying over and over again, right? Just like I'm complaining to you about Maroon, like here I am talking about this problem over and over again with no resolution. So we need to
You've
solve
been
it. I'm going to
complaining
talk.
about Sean for years.
I know.
I think it may be time to say adios, man.
I know. I don't want to make the transition in the middle of the year,
Yeah.
and
All right.
I'm gonna keep working with them this year to try to get them on page because I don't see any reason why we can't. So at the end of the month, you reconcile. So like, if you have $5,000 come out of the account and deposits, you have to wait till the bank statement comes out. This isn't an excuse though. I'm just saying to make sure it's right. If you got say 200 grand of deposits, you get the statement. Now you can see, okay, does this actually match? And that's called reconciling the accounts. And then you don't know
Mhm.
for sure if you're missing anything. But even prior to that, even if we're missing a couple things or things are a little bit off, we can still plug the numbers in, and
Yeah.
then just check it later. That way we'd have numbers live. But I mean, our credit card posts daily. So there's no reason why it should be over a month behind. But it's hard to make. We're making decisions, so we find out we're over budget in June. We're now here through the end of July, and now we're how far over budget are we now? So it's like delayed. You get the information late. You can take action really late, and make before, you don't want to be too late. But anyway, I'm reviewing with Sean, and we'll see where we're landing for that.
Do you think
And
a financial consultant may help to maybe identify areas where we can trim the fat that maybe we're missing? Do you think, can Sean make those recommendations?
I think anyone would. I think any different opinion would help. I've interviewed two other accountants, and one of them, which was really interesting, it was trying to blank on the name. I have it recorded. I have it written down. But they compare the they have all the stats because they only work with landscapers, so they take the stats of every other landscaper company. They can show you where you're high relative to everyone else. So if we're spending a lot on labor or job supplies, they can show where that stacks up against everyone else, and it's on like every month's report.
Mhm.
Um, so that'd be very interesting to see, to highlight things, right? To highlight potential issues or where we're doing well and where we're not doing well compared to everyone else.
Okay.
This is just a note. Arish got back to me because you saw it in the notes for the meeting about the Brandy. So I had it. So let me just jump over here. Better route scheduling. First cut same lawns every week. Arish proactively respond to that. She said, "I'm doing the best I can." It was a biweekly property at 6 to 8 hours, so she had to adjust the routes to match. But this has been addressed, and you reassigned the job to Red. So
Mhm.
it sounds like it's been more consistent. She sent some screenshot in here about changing the lawns around. Another analysis I did was current clients and leads year to date. We looked over this yesterday, but we had 619 and last year we had 464. So like all the everything we're looking at and like the reports from Sean, everything is saying we're on a positive trajectory, right? Outside of the actual cash in the account, which tells me that unless I'm missing something huge here, it's just a big cash flow crunch, But we're on trajectory. Everything we look at and all different ways we're looking at things everything's pointing in the right direction.
I think it's a pretty simple thing. We're paying more money than what we're bringing in, right? It's no secret what the
Mhm.
problem is.
Mhm.
So we just have
Mhm.
to like nip that in the bud, either make more money or reduce our expenses or both.
Right.
So where
Yeah.
do we start?
Let's see where we stand after this audit. We'll see for June if we're going over. I mean, we have a plan. Everything's in here.
Hmm.
So we should see where we stand. I mean, the other thing we could do is, which I kind of did last year, but I didn't like it. I left the budget the same, but we could do like, one of those email, like a Jeffrey Scott email that came in, like talking about like a lot of people will reassess their budget, right? Like we're halfway through
Hmm.
the year. It's a good time to be like, all right, like this is where the plan was, this is what's actually happening. And then you kind of change the course, depending on
Hmm.
that. So we could see, we plan on spending X in marketing, but we also planned on Y in revenue. If those aren't lining up, we could adjust things.
Okay.
I don't, I did that last year, changing the numbers mid-season, and I didn't like that because like a rolling budget where you update
I
the numbers
remember.
as you.
Yeah.
But I don't want to. We can't change our charge rates are kind of fit. It kind of like when we throw those things off, it throws our plan out the window. And I like keeping our original
Exactly.
plans. What we're doing this year is like trying to keep track of areas we're going over budget.
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
look at what we're under budget on and just sort of transfer those savings over to marketing. I think that's what you're getting at.
Right. What Sorry, just had another thought. I just want to mention that my brother, interestingly enough, they were having, and we're not really having issues with their booking rates. They look like they've been pretty consistent as well. But just throwing it out there, my brother does different types of work. It's painting, it's large jobs. But, it's like selling projects. So you could relate it to projects, like big projects. But he said something like they cut their rates by 10%, like how much they were charging, and their bookings went up like way more. So we could experiment with that. It's kind of playing with fire a little bit because if we don't book more work, we're just charging less, and it puts us in a worse place. Um, but I thought that was interesting that they did that and it made a major difference for them. But I think
So,
you kind of do that anyway, don't you? You adjust the projects accordingly.
well, this year I'm more confident to charge more. So last year it was my mentality to charge the least amount I can, but at a rate that we can still make money on.
Mhm.
So I kept things really inexpensive last year, and we booked a bunch of work, right? So in the end, we
Mhm.
did a bunch of extra work to land at the same place that we did the previous year. So basically, we were just working to make the same amount of money. So
Mhm.
this year, we increased prices 5, 10, or $15 per hour, whatever it is. But yeah, sometimes I use discretion on projects. But I don't want to see us book a bunch of work just to be fucking wasting
Exactly.
resources to make the same amount of
That's
money to do a tenth of 10% less work.
Exactly. I'm just throwing the idea out there, but I don't like that idea either. I think
I
that's
don't
playing
like it,
with
man.
fire. Look good.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know what? Our charge rate's definitely up, right? And our hours are only down a little bit. So we can just kick in a little bit more. If you want to experiment like one off, like I always say with RBS, I don't like just lowering the rates for no reason, but we could offer, I mean, in the past we've done specials in July. Like I used to do like gardening, I'd be like buy 4 hours, get one free.
Hmm.
Things like that to scrap up some work. So we could do a one off just to get a little bit more volume in there, get a little bit more work and just see what type of response we get. And if we're booking crazy more amounts of work because we offer the special, well, maybe offsets we get way more hours and our hard rate drops a little bit. We end up at a better place. We could try offering like a special like that to scrap up some work.
So
Just a
July,
thought.
I sent a text and an email to clients. I get a lot of responses offering 25 off 250 and 100 off over 1,000. I think
Gotcha.
dollars work better than percents. A lot less figuring out
Definitely.
with adding hours. But yeah,
Yeah.
we got some responses to that.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Okay. I know you got to go in 5 minutes. Let's see if there's anything else we can kick on quickly. Let me see. Oh, I saw a review. I think you might have gotten it taken down as a 1 star about the thumbs up thing, unless that was an old review that came in from the old one. You know what I'm talking about? I got an email. I get emails with reviews from like Nice Job, and there was something about the 1 star with a thumbs up. Did you do it to someone else, or was that same person I
No,
just saw?
no,
Oh,
I don't
so
know
that's the
what
same
that
review.
is.
Let's quickly in our 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Let's check out this over here. Actually, I think I'm gonna call the I'm gonna stop the recording here. So, um,
Like kind of concerned, but I'm keeping that guy because Jack's still crushing it.
oh, absolutely. I mean, overall, we're crushing it. We would just crush it even more if we ditch some of these outliers
Yeah,
here.
yeah, you're right. Yep, yep.
So I think we should
That's
just
why I
need to do
haven't
even
raised.
better. Why would we not? I'm telling you, I'm telling you, we're definitely losing money on this guy every week, every time we apply. We're definitely
Sure.
losing money on this one. Why we do jobs, we're losing money. And if we have been
Yep.
actively putting out the yard
Okay.
signs there, if we had the bandwidth, we could do some like very targeted Facebook advertising in those areas too. But like, why do we need to spread? Eventually it's not worthwhile. We're not going to be driving to Massachusetts to fertilize unless we have a closer location. So there should just be some sort of fixed service area here that we're not wandering way out freaking green.
Yep.
So
My goal is my goal is to sell the East Bay, Bristol, Warren, Barrington, East Providence, Aquidneck Island. We can stop there. We don't have to go over the bridges.
For now, do you want me to just to get something done as called as have a Rouge contact these people here? These are really far. These ones are clearly, you can just look at it. We're definitely losing. I don't know about this one, but this guy and this guy and this guy, we should probably lose at a very minimum,
I can't see your mouse, but
oh, you can't see my thing.
no,
Well, the guy bought in Little Compton, top of Little Compton, out in Green. These westerlies seem to surprise. We are filling some in over here, but some of these are just really out there. Definitely address, and others are kind of we can wait a little bit. But some of those we just didn't need to pick to the curb. So if you want, I'll just take the initiative myself, since we have the time to go through them one by one. We'll just knock those guys, and we'll address the rest later.
Yep.
Okay.
You want to? Can you do it tomorrow morning?
Let me see. Let me text you on that. You look at the calendar and talk to Ashley, but probably.
I have a meeting in North Kingstown at 9:30, so either before or after that.
Okay, I'll look into it. I'll shoot you a text.
Cool.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. Bye. Bye.